Hey everybody, First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad. Panovich update on our cold front, a break in the heat, and potentially a tropical wave interaction. Not that I'm really concerned about that tropical system, but it could add some moisture to the whole setup as we see this cold front approaching from the north and west. And the good news is there is a cold front approaching. So first things first, you see the cold front to our northwest. It's slow moving. It's pushing in this general direction. And here's our tropical wave. It's got about a 30% chance of developing in the next 2 days or 5 days. That's not a really high chance. So I don't expect it to develop into much. A couple things. It's going to be interacting with the front, land, and a lot of wind shear. So it doesn't look like this is going to become a tropical storm or a hurricane, but it might be marginally close to a tropical depression. And overall, the impacts will be the same regardless. It's going to be a rainmaker for parts of the coast. You can see the system moving in from the north and west. In fact, all of our mountain counties are currently under a flood watch right now through tomorrow morning because this slow moving front is going to produce so much rain. There's a lot of moisture sitting over us, and as the front drifts in here, you can see the batches of rain that are developing back to the northwest. This is the rain that's going to sit over the mountains first. So a lot of this rain comes in later today, tonight, and tomorrow. The real interesting thing will be what happens to this moisture to the south as it gets pulled up to the north and interacts with that front. So there's a look at the flood watch just filled in there. You can see all the mountain counties under that flood watch, which is basically up through midnight tonight. So basically tonight might get extended. I could see this going really until tomorrow morning with this rain moving in. But that's a look at the flood watch heading our way. Let me show you what I think is going to happen as this thing moves up from the south. I'll turn these off real quick. Excuse me. And we'll load up the model data here. All right, so let's look at the model data here. A couple things to notice. I'm going to tilt the map here. First things first, let's look at what happens with the front as it approaches from the north and west. You can see the rain developing by 5, 6 o'clock today. So you can see the rain moving in. This looks to be a pretty good soaking rain. If we see this widespread band of rain set up, this will be really good. By far the best rain we've seen in the Carolinas in quite some time. You see that waves of it pushing through with the cold front. Now at the same time, our tropical wave isn't really doing a whole lot down there, so it's not really a player. The front itself is, and this is about 12:40 tonight or tomorrow morning, basically. Looks like the front is in here, so we got one wave of rain, but it looks like there'll be another wave along the cold front. So as I put this into motion tomorrow morning, we're probably going to wake up to some rain, and the rain's going to linger most of Tuesday. So Tuesday is kind of a soggy day as well, with showers and thunderstorms around as the front pushes through. Now, at the same time, you can see our tropical wave is somewhere off the southeast coast. It doesn't really make it inland anywhere. Watch how it gets pulled out to sea pretty quickly because the front gets in here. Now, there's a chance that this tropical system could get a little bit closer and bring heavier rain in these areas, but I really think the front wins out. But this is a pretty good setup for rain for a lot of us. This is tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So we've got a wave of rain tonight and then another wave with the front moving through tomorrow, and that looks to be pretty heavy. And notice our tropical wave is out here. This is about the time things start to move through. So late tomorrow night, the front kind of pushes all the way off to the east, and we start to see the system merge with it. So it's a big old mess out here somewhere, and then it's just out to sea. So that's why there's not a really big chance of development with this. But one thing we'll have to watch with this front, and I'm gonna hopefully this will pause right here, is this front gets stalled off the coast here. Anywhere along this, we could see development on it. You always wonder about that. So in the Gulf and out here, we'll have to watch late this week into the weekend to see if something spins up on the front as it sits over those warm waters. But again, I'll loop this real quickly, and you can see this is a 60-hour loop going into the future. Kind of shows you how everything unfolds and pushes off to the east. So the tropical system really not a big concern and probably less of a driver of our weather than the cold front that moves through. In fact, let me show you the tropical wave. You see it there right over above my head. Not really doing a whole lot. And again, I don't think it's going to be much of a player at all. Let's go to a little bit bigger regional view here. And I'll show you this loop. So you can see the front coming in, and here's our tropical system. So it's already starting to get pulled off to the north and east as the front is going to kind of win out as it heads our way. How much rain are we talking about? Well, here's a real quick look at the WPC's forecast for rainfall amounts. You could see definitely some enhancement here in eastern North Carolina through Thursday, maybe 2, 3, 4 inches. And in the mountains, I think this is underdone a little bit, but we're probably looking at a general area of around 1 inch or 2 across most of the Piedmont with 2 to 3 inches along the coast. And I think that's the area that has the best chance of seeing significant rain because that tropical system interacting with the front. So we'll be keeping an eye on it, but right now I anticipate this front will be a much bigger player than this tropical system. And if you got plans on the coast, again, it looks like the front clears out of here pretty quickly in the next 60 hours or so. So this is going through Wednesday. It looks like the front is out here and the tropical system isn't much of an issue. But down in Florida, if you have travel plans down there, I have a sneaky suspicion this front's going to stall there and there might be some pretty heavy rain over the next few days. So just something to keep an eye on. I'll be watching it today. The good news is with all this, I haven't even talked about how this is going to knock the temperatures down dramatically behind this system. Let me show you this. We'll loop this real quickly. I'll load this up and I could show you the cooler air coming in as this pushes all of the hot, humid air off to the east, and we actually start to see some cooler air moving in from the north and west, which will be great. So it's loading before your eyes. That's why you're seeing it flicker. But just to give you an idea, the cooler air coming out of Canada, coming down to the southeast is really going to feel great here the next couple of days as it pushes the crazy high heat and humidity off to the east and brings a break. So to me, that's the most exciting thing about this. I'm going to pause it right. We'll go to the end here. So this is Friday at 8 o'clock in the evening. We back it up. And I'll kind of show you the temperatures. Upper 70s. Back here, we've got mid 70s. So real nice break from the heat compared to what we've had in the last week and a half with mid and upper 90s. That's the other big part of the story. Cooler air on the way. Of course, I'll be tracking it throughout the day. If anything changes, if we get more flood watches or warnings, you can find them on my Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram. Have a great Monday, everybody.